Let's talk a little bit about Megumi, but if you're not caught up on the manga through chapter 248, keep scrolling. Also, shout out to Nick for the sponsored video tonight. I appreciate the support, man. For anybody else that similarly wants to support and also get their question prioritized, you can find the link in my bio. So Nick actually had a few different questions revolving around Megumi over a few different installments. So I took the liberty of combining it all into like one paragraph here for ease of readability. So Nick wants to know if I can explain what happened to Megumi's body after Sukuna reincarnated himself. Is he still in Megumi's body technically, or is Megumi's soul now trapped in Sukuna's physical body? Also, what is going to happen to Megumi if Sukuna is defeated? Like, given everything that happened to Megumi during the Gojo Sukuna fight, what's going to happen to our boy? So let's talk about these things. So first, let's tackle the question of the body. Is it still technically Megumi's body now that Sukuna has fully transformed into his true form? And the answer is yes. So the way this works with incarnated sorcerers is when they take over their vessel, they essentially have a one-time use transformation that will make them appear as how they truly should appear and not as the vessel anymore. This is referenced in this scene here where they're asking, whoa, Sukuna, why are you still like looking like Megumi? You're keeping that visage? And he says, for now. And this concept is elaborated on further in the Kashimo fight where he says Sukuna has a way to repair his flesh only once besides the reverse curse technique, and he's referring to this transformation. And even though that transformation has now happened, we still know it's technically Megumi's body thanks to the way the rules in the culling game are written. For example, this one from the most recent chapter, giving the authority to start the merger to Megumi. Kenjaku is really giving that authority to Sukuna, but he has to designate Megumi because that is the vessel. So Megumi didn't just get erased when this happened. This is technically still Megumi's body. He just had a bit of a facelift. Now, as far as the second half of your question about like what kind of state is Megumi even in at this point, like let's just assume Sukuna gets defeated. Like, can Megumi even recover from what happened to him during the Gojo fight? And specifically, my man got unlimited voided at least once and potentially up to 5 times. And we know how just dangerous that is to the human brain. So is Megumi a vegetable at this point? And that's not even to mention kind of the psychological damage of everything Sukuna did to suppress his soul, both with the bath and taking out his sister. So is he going to be okay? Unfortunately, there's really no way to know. There's nothing really we can point to say, yeah, he's going to be all right for this reason, or no, he's not because of this. The only thing we know for sure is that Unlimited Void like wreaks havoc on human brains. Gojo opened his domain for 0.2 seconds in Shibuya, and those humans had to be rehabilitated for months. And again, Megumi potentially took 5 of these things. However, it was his soul that bore the adaptation of Unlimited Void, not necessarily his physical brain. So perhaps he avoided the true brain damage of it. But again, this is such a like weird concept to try to dissect because Sukuna was incarnated in his body. So did his brain take the damage? You know, it's just so hard to say. It really just depends on what Gege wants to do with the story. He could make it so that Megumi's a vegetable, and even if the good guys win, you know, he's done for. Or he could make it that Megumi can come back from this due to the weird circumstances of the things that were going on. For my money, I think Megumi's not done yet. I think Megumi could still just be completely wiped out, depending on what happens to Sukuna. But at this point in the story, I don't think it's completely over for him yet. I think there's hope.